As I stepped off the bus, a chill ran down my spine. The small town of Everwood was shrouded in an unsettling silence, punctuated only by the distant hum of a lone cicada. The houses seemed to loom over me, their windows like empty eyes staring back. The air was heavy with an eerie stillness, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The residents of Everwood strolled down the sidewalk, their faces fixed in perpetual smiles. They didn't seem to notice me, or perhaps they didn't care. The streets were immaculate, as if they'd been swept clean of any imperfection. I walked past a small cafe, and the words, "Welcome to Everwood," were emblazoned on the sign in bold letters. But something about it seemed off, like a scream frozen on the edge of sound. People passed me on the sidewalk, their eyes never leaving mine, yet never quite meeting mine. It was as if they were trying to convey a message, but it was always just out of reach. I tried to smile back, but my lips felt numb, and my face felt like a mask. I entered the local diner, where the waitress greeted me with a forced grin. The menu was a dizzying array of options, but the atmosphere was oppressive, like a weight pressing down on my shoulders. I ordered a coffee, but the cup seemed to loom over me, a cold, unforgiving presence. The townsfolk seemed to be watching me, their smiles growing wider with each passing moment. I felt like a specimen under a microscope, being analyzed and dissected. The silence was starting to drive me mad, a never-ending scream in my ear. I decided to explore the outskirts of town, to see if I could find some respite from the suffocating atmosphere. But the further I walked, the more I felt like I was being herded towards some unknown destination. The streets seemed to twist and turn, leading me in circles. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the streets. The townsfolk gathered in small groups, their smiles growing even wider as the light faded. I felt like I was trapped in a living nightmare, with no escape in sight. As night began to fall, the townsfolk started to move in closer, their eyes fixed on me with an unnerving intensity. I tried to run, but my legs felt heavy, as if rooted to the spot. The smiles seemed to grow even wider, until they became grotesque parodies of joy. The lights flickered, and the air grew colder still. I felt a presence behind me, and I spun around, but there was no one there. The townsfolk closed in, their faces a blur of smiles and teeth. And then, just as I thought I was going to scream, I saw it, a small, almost imperceptible flicker of eyelids. It was a blink, and it was enough to shatter the illusion. The townsfolk's smiles faltered, and for a moment, I saw the true horror beneath. But it was too late. The townsfolk's faces began to stretch and contort, their skin pulling back like rubber. Their eyes bulged, and they let out a collective scream that shattered the night. I turned to run, but it was then that I saw my own face staring back at me, a face with no eyelids, a face that smiled forever.